Let's now take a look at what's making headlines in the international press. And I'm joined by Katerina Vitozzi. Hello, Katerina.
Hello.
We're going to start off with reactions to that second presidential debate in the US.
Yeah, yesterday we were talking a lot about reactions in the US to that presidential live TV debate. Plenty of reaction worldwide now. Let's take a look at a couple of cartoons in two British newspapers, The Independent and The Guardian. Can you spot the similarities? I don't think the cartoonists were conferring on this one, but both seem to have picked up on this idea that this TV debate between the President Barack Obama and his Republican candidate contester Mitt Romney, it's really provoked a sort of a resurrection in this campaign for both candidates. In terms of Romney, it's seen him kind of gain momentum from, sort of seeing a real turn in the polls for him. For Barack Obama, it's a resurrection in terms of from the first debate, the second one saw such a change in terms of his attitude, in terms of how aggressive he was. I also like to think that The Independent is showing there that the stakes are high. I could be reading a little bit too much into it, but it's interesting to see that is a similar theme that two different papers have picked up on.
They're at each other's throats as they're neck and neck in the polls.
Exactly. There's a lot of things to draw from those two pictures, but similar themes in both. But similarities there. Also interesting to see how that debate and in terms of who it puts ahead, how that's been regarded from different papers across the world. The Jerusalem Post, they say that the issue of Libya and how that was treated in the second debate, that kind of puts Obama back on top. They say that foreign policy was always his sort of like little Achilles heel, as it were, but the fact that he was able to talk a little bit about Libya and has kind of
Obama's Achilles heel.
Exactly.
This
is what the Jerusalem Post, they were saying that...
Because he's generally considered stronger than Romney when it comes to that sort of thing.
Well, as in terms of the attack, the September attack in Benghazi, so that was kind of his real target, but that he seems to have kind of made amends on that. However, the Australian, they've kind of taken the other opinion. They say that it was actually Mitt Romney who's still ahead overall. They say, although this was a great, strong performance by Obama, no one seems to be contesting that. They say that overall these debates have seen Mitt Romney really kind of improve and have this sort of the impetus, the momentum, they say, is still with him. They say that in politics, the hardest thing is to switch momentum, and then the hardest thing for the opponent is then to contest that momentum. This is kind of this great big snowball effect as you hear more and more and more people are, oh, actually, maybe Mitt Romney is a little bit more casual and easygoing than we previously thought. So they say that it's really going to be a tight race in the third debate to see who is going to sort of be able to get that momentum and switch it back to them.
Well, of course, it's not up to the Brits or the Australians, is it? It's up to the Americans, and they'll be having their say in under 3 weeks' time. Now, what about China? It was mentioned a bit in that debate,
Absolutely.
wasn't it?
No, it's interesting to see that a lot of other papers have been focusing on who was the winner of that debate. China just like to count how many times they were mentioned in this debate. They say that China bashing was top of the agenda. The China Daily says China was mentioned dozens of times in this debate, only once positively. They say that we just are seen as a sort of an easy point-scoring target. There isn't a huge amount of justification between these attacks. This isn't just the China Daily being a bit sensitive. It's also something that's picked up in the Wall Street Journal, who notes that China was a punching bag in the debate.
And here in France, François Hollande has been speaking to the media ahead of the EU summit later in Brussels.
Yeah, in fact, and he's given his first interview to a British-speaking newspaper. This is an interview in The Guardian. This is ahead of that EU summit. They pick up on the theme of Merkel and the issues of discord between the French president and the German chancellor. The Tagesspieler picks up on this note of discord, expressing their sort of disappointment, saying, it's a shame that these comments were made just at a time when there was a sort of faint glimmer of optimism heading into this EU summit. So a shame, they say, but come on, really a kind of appeal to both the leaders. Put your differences behind you. Let's find a common consensus how to move forward.
All right, thank you very much, Katerina, for taking us through the international press.